Hi everyone, welcome back to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith, and we're ready to begin our playthrough of the solo variant for Legacy: The Testament of Duke de Crecy. I have to confess, I haven't won this yet, but I do have a couple of games under my belt, so I feel like I'm getting there. I'm getting really close, and I'm hoping with your help, maybe this time we'll pull it off. Now, because it's a solo game, I can just play everything publicly. So all the friends cards that I drew, they'll be face up. The hints I'm trying to accomplish, of course. You'll be able to see everything. So why don't we just get right to the table and get this thing started? Now, if you haven't already, you may want to go back and watch the instructional videos for the standard game of Legacy as well as the solo variant. But very briefly, in the solo version of the game, there's going to be 9 hint cards you have to complete before the end of the game or you lose. But you're only given a few at a time at the beginning of each generation. So at the start of the game, these are the 3 hints that I drew. One of my grandmothers needs to have been a scientist. And then the same or different grandmother needs to have contributed to the community in some way. And it says we either have to have a feast, banquet, or grand ball. And then finally, one of my grandfathers needs to have had a venture. So you don't have to complete these 3 within the first generation, but I can tell you something, I'm going to try to do my best to do them as quickly as possible so that I can then focus on the next generation set of 3 cards I need to work towards. These are the friend cards I start with in my hand. I shuffled the friends deck and drew 5 because I chose Patrick to represent me, and Patrick starts the game with 5 friends. Now, as you can see, I almost managed to fit everything on the screen at once. Here's my player board. I start with an income of 1. The 3 hint cards that I showed you earlier, my starting gold of 9, I have 2 action pawns. These are the friends that I showed you earlier, and also the beginnings of my family tree. Now, I chose Patrick, the hardworking stable master. But to tell you the truth, I never liked horses, and I especially don't like coming home smelling like them every single evening. But what can I do? Both of my parents were lowly craftsmen as well. I come by it honestly, but really, in my heart, I have one goal: be stinkin' rich. But good news, a wealthy aristocrat died. Well, not good for his family, but good for me, because there's rumors that potentially my family is linked to his ancestors, and I could be eligible to claim the inheritance. And I'll prove that link by completing these hints and these ones over here as well that will be drawn later in the game. If I could do that, I'm going to burn my stable clothes and buy one of those fancy, silly-looking white wigs all the rich guys wear. You can see over here we do have the main board set up, the Generation 1 title and contribution cards, and the friend deck, which was shuffled, placed face down, then 5 friends dealt face up beneath the main board. I'm in round 1, and we're ready to get started. Now, I'm fortunate because one of the hints says that I had a grandmother who was a scientist. Well, it turns out in my hand I have 3 different scientists. One of them is a guy, so it's unlikely he was my grandmother, but either Claire or Marguerite could have been. So looking over their abilities, well, let's take a closer look. Marguerite is going to increase my prestige and give me a benefit when I'm drawing children cards. But Claire, she has a this generation benefit that will allow me to collect more friends if I socialize. And I find getting lots of friends is great because it gives me lots of options when I'm building my family tree. Not only that, I lose money with Marguerite, and we already know Patrick's a bit of a hound for money, and we'll get 3 gold if we put Claire in our family tree. So let's get to it by taking a who were they action. I'm going to pick up Claire, and I'm going to replace my mother's unknown mother with Claire. As soon as I do that, I get to collect 3 gold. So I'll take those from the bank here. That's nice. And she's showing the face-up friend card. So I get to collect one of these for free. So now I get to look over here and see which kind of friend would be nice to have. Before I do that though, remember, once you put a known member in your family, you need to give them parents. So let me just pick up the deck here. I'm going to find a male and female and put them like so. And before I grab that friend, I'm going to flip over this hint card because one of my grandmothers is now a scientist. Now, looking over these options, I could act noble and say that, hey, Martha's a good pick because it allows me to gain the orange pawn, and that's the one that you use to initiate a venture, and that's one of the hints I'm trying to satisfy. But let's be honest, the real reason is because Patrick is a total cheapskate, and all of these other friends, if I add them to my family, they're going to cost me money, and Martha, she's going to give me gold. Now here's the thing for my second action. I have 2 thoughts going through my mind. I picked up Claire, put her in my family, and she has a this generation benefit. So I won't be able to use this once we cross over into the second generation. So I would like to take advantage of this. And it says that each time I socialize, I get one friend more. And that's good because more friends are more options. These friends, though, kind of stink, to be honest. I'm not seeing a lot of great options with them. Not right now, anyway. But if I can remove all of these friends from the board, then I'll be able to draw 5 more. And that will give me a look into some other options I might have. So I will use my action pawn on whom did they know. And just to show that Patrick's not a total cheapskate, he's going to invest some money into his search. I'm going to pay 1 gold, which gives me 2 friends and 1 free from Claire. But because taking 3 leaves 1 behind, and you can't leave 1 behind, you automatically get the 4th. So I've actually ended up wiping the entire friends list here, adding them into my hand, and now I can replace all these spots. So I'll draw out 5 new friends. And that was my second action. I'm all out of action pawns, so that's actually going to end this round. And the money I spent goes back into the bank. Before we move to the second round, though, I do get to collect some income. Working those stables isn't entirely profitable. My income is at 1, so I will collect 1 gold. And now let's see what I can get up to. I'll take my action pawns back. Now again, I'd really like to work through as many of these hints as possible. So I think what I'm going to do is take a who were they action, and I'm going to put Martha in my family because I'd like to collect that orange pawn. Now, one thing I've found is a good strategy is to work on one side of your family tree. Because if I'm working on both of them, then when I start drawing into the next hint cards, I might have already kind of messed things up, might make it harder on myself to complete some of them. Whereas if I work just sort of in one path, then I have kind of a free, unfettered path that maybe I can work on some of those other objectives with. So Martha is going to be my mother's mother's mother. And she gives +2 gold, so I'll collect that from the bank. As you'll notice, Claire's nationality is French, just like my mother's. And you want at least 1 parent to match the child's nationality if they're not French, because that's one way you can gain or lose points. Because they're both French in this case, it doesn't really matter, but it makes me feel good to know that my family tree makes a certain kind of sense so far. So once again, I'm going to be able to claim another face-up friend. Before I do that though, I'll just gain this orange pawn. And sometimes I forget, so let me just do this now as well. I'm going to add a male and a female card above here for Martha's unknown parents. And now let's go pick out a friend. All right, now I like to think that Patrick he's maturing a little bit here. He's going to be looking at more than just the money that these family members can provide. After all, he's already gained one of his hints. So he realizes, hey, there's a chance maybe this inheritance is going to come to me. And you have to spend money to make money. So this time I'm going to take a look a little closer here at the different effects and abilities that they provide and see which one I think might be beneficial. Now I do like this one here that lets me gain the yellow action pawn because one of my hints is gaining a contribution. But I do like Jacoba's ability as well. You get to draw 2 face-down friends for each craftsman you have in your family. And Martha, that I just added, was a craftsman, so I could draw up to 8 friends. I only get to keep one of them, but that would be quite a selection. And she does provide more money. I know what I just said about money, but I think I will take Jacoba. Maybe this is why I keep on losing. I do kind of enjoy role-playing my characters here as I build the family, and maybe I get caught up in that a little bit. But no, you know what? I had some sensible thinking earlier there. I collected this action pawn. I want to use it right now. I'm going to initiate a venture. And remember to do that, I'm going to have to throw away 2 friends from my hand and lose an honor point. Well, that's going to put me into minus honor. That's not great. Let's see if I can find 2 friends I want to get rid of. Now, I'm a bit nervous about throwing out the male friends that I have because that's the side I haven't been working on in my family tree so much. I'm definitely not getting rid of Jacoba though. So I think I'm going to toss out these 2. I like that they're both the same nationality because you get points when you pair up nationalities within your descendants. But looking over the other benefits, which some of them seem pretty good, I'm going to toss these 2 out. Okay, so for better or for worse, I have gained a venture. And remember, these will increase your income by 1, so I'll adjust that right now. And to complete the hint, I'm going to have to assign this to one of my grandfathers, and I think I will stay on this side of my family tree. So it's going to go right over here. And since that hint is completed, I'll just flip it over. And really, I'm off to a pretty good start. Actually, I'm off to a really great start because I'm going to use this action pawn right now to contribute to the community. I know you can't see these cards. I'll just bring the feast over because that's the one that I'm going to use. It will cost me 3 gold, so I'll spend that right now. But it's also going to give me 4 honor. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm in the positive honor. No longer have I been disgraced by all this research. Maybe at first people thought I was just gold digging a little bit, taking advantage of the news of this aristocrat's death. But now maybe people see some validity to my claims. They found out that my ancestors held great feasts and they're feeling a little more positive towards me. I'm also going to gain a face down friend, so the top card from this stack. And we've got Javier. He is the governor's son. Oh, excellent. Well, to get the hint, I'm going to need to give this to one of my grandmothers, and tried and true, I'm staying over on this side here. These grandparents have really helped provide some authenticity to my claims. I've completed the final hint. Well, at least of the 3 that I have so far. Now it's the end of the round. Once again, I'm going to claim my gold. This time my income is at 2, so I get to gain 2 gold. That's a little bit better. Maybe my parents are chipping in towards my research now that they see that perhaps some of this money might trickle down to them as well. As it's the end of the generation, I can score my prestige. Unfortunately, my prestige is 0, so I don't get any honor points for those. I will take back my action pawns here. And then as we head into the next generation, there's a couple things that happen. First of all, I'm going to be able to gain one of these random action pawns. So let me take those. Oh, and I have to remove this one. Once an additional action pawn is placed, it has to come back in here. And remember, at the end of a generation, if you haven't used one of your additional action pawns, you lose them anyway. All right, I'll just shake these up and let one drop. Okay, this is a pretty good one. This one allows me to take an action to either claim a title or a contribution. So I'll put that here with my other pawns. These remaining ones can go back into the bank here. And now I get to draw 3 new hints. These are 3 more objectives that I want to try to complete. So let's take a close look and see what they say. Now this set is looking a little more challenging. The first one says the sister of one of my grandfathers was an artist. I'm looking at my friends right now. I don't see any artists. And then the parents of one of my grandfathers was a scientist and diplomat couple. And finally, a parent of one of my grandfathers was connected to City Hall. So I'm either going to have to gain one of these listed titles or use the community action visiting the mayor. Before I take any actions, let me just move the round marker to number 3. And then to start, I think I'm going to ask, who were they? And I want to add Jacoba to my family tree. I looked over these different people and sure, she does give me 3 gold and we know that Patrick does enjoy his money. But it's for benefit that I'm really looking at. I'm going to be able to collect 1 face-up friend and then draw 2 face-down friends for every other craftsman in my family. I get to keep 1, but this is going to let me dig through a lot of friends and hopefully find one that's really good for me. But first I need to place her into my family tree. I think I'll make her my mother's 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 mother, right there. And just so I don't forget, I'll give her a mother and then go find, there we go, perfect. That's the male I need. Now to pick a face-up friend. Now of my choices, there are 2 diplomats, and I'll need a diplomat in my family if I want to complete one of these hints. The thing is, I already have a male diplomat in my hand, but I also have some male scientists, and I like one of the male scientists, so it would be nice to have a female diplomat to put with him for the couple that I need. Also, I'm not really keen about collecting an additional red pawn. I don't usually find myself undertaking missions, at least not in the solo variant, so I will take Beatrice instead. So Beatrice is now one of my friends, and I'll draw 8 of these face-down friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's not a lot of room to spread these out and show you, so let me just put them over here on the other side of the table and we'll take a closer look. I really thought for sure, drawing all of those friends, I would get at least 1 female artist, but it appears I've got none. And I won't bother reading all of these different effects because 7 of these cards are being discarded. I will tell you though, I'm going to choose John. Now that may seem like an odd choice, but he's British. And one of the friends I currently have in my hand are British. And I know I want to add that one to my family tree at some point. And you gain a point for each non-French nationality family member whose parents, at least one of them, matches the same nationality. So I'm hoping I can do that with John here. We'll see. I'm going to put John right here close by because I'm going to use him in just a moment, but I've been so focused on building my family tree, I forgot a very important step between the generations. I should have removed all of these Generation 1 title and contribution cards and replaced them with the Generation 2 title and contribution cards. Let me do that right now. Woo, that was fast. All right, now I'm going to take an action, and I'm going to put John into my family as my mother's father. So he'll go right here, and of course gain his own mother and father. I had some of these discarded child cards from the ones I've been removing from my family tree. It is going to cost me 2 gold though, so I'll remove that now, put it into the bank. My prestige increases by 1, so that's nice. And it says I gain +1 honor for each other diplomat in my family. I have none, so that benefit is kind of wasted. But I have a plan, believe me. See, I've got Roger here, and I think he's going to be useful to use because of his benefit. And if I put him within this family tree, because he'll be the parent of John, they'll have matching nationalities. That's going to give me a point. But before we get there, we now have a complete known couple. So I draw the top card of the child deck. And basically, I've just given my mother a sister I didn't know about. I guess I have an aunt. Now, I'm going to use my title action, my free yellow action that I have here, in order to collect the Patron of Paris. And now you'll see exactly what I've been planning all along here. First though, I will have to lose 1 to my income. But now I can assign this to John's parents. And that's going to allow me to satisfy this hint right here. I needed to give the title to the parents of one of my grandfathers. So in order to get these child cards out so I could give them a title, I needed to figure out who this grandfather was. Now, of course, I could have done it over here as well, but like I said, I've been trying to stay on this side of my family tree as much as possible. So I'll flip this over right now, but there are other benefits to the title. First of all, I get to draw the top face-down friend, and I've got Pauline. She's a newspaper editor, so I'll add her to my friends, and then I also gain 2 prestige. That's all of my actions, so I'll gain some income. I'm easily 1 gold. I'll add that here. I'll return the additional action pawn to the pool and collect my 2. Now I'll move the marker to round 4, and I'm going to turn things over to you, but really things have been going quite well so far. I'm sure you'll be able to continue with that success. Patrick has uncovered a certain portion of his family. He's completed several of the hints. We're not going to be able to complete the hint with an artist. I just don't have that friend yet. Let's focus our attention on the hint where we need a couple that's going to be the parents of one of my grandfathers who are a scientist and a diplomat. And listen, we've opened up a nice here couple over one of my grandfathers, so that's probably a good place to start. It would be nice to have some more money as well. Now you might be thinking, Rodney, I know, Patrick likes money, but let's not be ridiculous. You have a whole hoard here. Yes, but there is a friend in my hand named Charles. I'd like to be able to get him out later, and he costs 8 gold. So if we can get some money as well as satisfy this hint, then I'll be thrilled. But that's up to you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave you with some shots here of the friends I have in my hand, as well as the hints that are remaining, the friends here underneath the main board, and then my family tree. If you have a good suggestion for what I should do with my next actions, put them in the comments below this video. If you like what someone suggested, give it a thumbs up. If you're not sure about it, propose your own suggestion. Maybe someone else will give that a vote. Whichever one gets the most votes, that's what I'll try to come back here and do. But until the next episode, thanks for watching.